So, does anyone can anyone tell me what they understand by the word permission or permission? Just one person, just one word. Okay, you can't hear me. Did someone said he or she can't hear me? Hello? You can unmute and talk.
We can hear you. Go ahead.
All right, good, thank you. All right. Okay, so yes, I was asking if someone can just give me just one word about permission. Try and increase the volume of your phone. Probably that might be the reason why you can't hear me. So just one word about permission. What do you understand by permission? Anyone? No one? All right. Okay. So I'll just dive into it. Basically, what you've been doing so far is just I have so many folders here, right? So what you've been doing so far is just creating a folder, creating files inside the folder, like your Word document files, writing into the files, like the way you write with your Microsoft Word or your Notepad. So these are all the things you've been doing, and you've been doing them using your command line interface. This is a graphical interface where you can just easily see what you're doing, create a folder by just doing um, new and then folder, right? And then this one will create a folder and then you give it a name, probably new folder, right? So this is what you've been doing so far. Okay, I have one called new folder already. So this is what you've been doing so far, and you've been using your command line interface to do this particular task. Okay, so let me just increase this a bit. All right, so I connected my sandbox to my command prompt. So you can do that. It's a very easy step. Probably like just in 15 seconds you'll be able to connect. Okay, so on permissions, permission is just like granting access to do something. Okay, probably you want to go out, you need permission from your parents or from someone. Okay, so um, that's basically it. And then I said we've been creating folders and all that, right? Or you've been creating it normally on your normal display, and then now you're using commands like words to create them. Okay, so the folder I created just now, if I want to create it on this terminal, I'll use the make directory, right? So folder is called directory, and then and I can give it a name like new folder. Okay, and then if I list what I have in this, all these things are just like folder. In this folder I'll see that I have the new folder I just created, so I can open the folder. When you are opening folders here, you double tap, but if you are on your command prompt, you use your CD to open it. Okay, and then the folder you want to open, new folder, right? And then it will open it, as you can see here, right? And then you can use pwd to know where you are currently. Okay, so this new folder is where what we'll be working on, right? So let me clear my screen, and then if I list it, I have nothing there. So I'm just going to create some files. And who can help me with the command to create a file? Can someone help? Anyone?
Is it an empty one?
Yes, an empty file.
Okay. Touch.
Yeah, good. All right, so
Then the file name.
yeah, thank you. So the touch command would okay, sorry. Okay, I think I'm in the right place. All right. So the touch command, and then I want to create like 4 files for now. So I can say file 1, file 2, file 3, file 4, file 5, 5 files. Okay, enter, and then it's going to create those empty files for me. All right, so I have all these files. So see these files as your what's it called, your Microsoft Word files. Okay, and then if you have a file on your system, right, you can write into it by opening that file with probably your WordPad, your Microsoft Word, depending on the format of the file, right? So the Microsoft Word of your web terminal is the VI and Emacs, and those two software are used to write into a file. So if I want to write into this file now, I'm going to use VI and say VI and file1, okay, and I press enter. So you need to understand how to use it, okay? So if I want to write into it, I'll press the I key, and you can see this place is showing insert. So VI has the command part and the insertion part. So if I want to go to the command mode, I'll press escape, and as you can see, insert has disappeared. If I want to go back to insert, I'll press I, okay, and then I can write anything inside the file the way I'm going to write on the Microsoft Word, okay. I can just say the name of the Lord, right, and I am an engineer, right, and that's all. Then I will need to save it and exit, right? Your Microsoft Word, when you finish typing, you're going to save it and then close, right? So if I want to save, I'll go to the command mode, and then I'll press the double colon, right? And then this W means save and Q means you should quit. So the two together, okay. You can also use X to do the two together, and then if I press enter, you see I'm done. It means I've written inside this guy. So if I want to view what is inside, I can use less and file1, right, and then you can see I have this. I can press Q to quit. I can also use cat and file1, and that one will display it in a screen. Less will not display it in a screen. It will display it in like a new, it will kind of open the file, and then you can close the file. But this one would display what is inside this place, right? You can also use Emacs to write inside the file. So file 2 is empty, right? If I cat file 2, you see that it is empty, nothing is displaying. So if I want to write inside file 2, I can just say Emacs. Emacs is another. So see your VI as your notepad, see your Emacs as your Microsoft Word, right? So they are both used to type into a file, write into a file, right? And then I can say Emacs file 2. I want to use file 2. And then if I want to write Emacs, you don't need to go to insert mode or command mode. You just type immediately. So the name of my father is Sam, something like that. And then you need to save it and then exit. To save on Emacs, you press Ctrl X, Ctrl C. That's to save. And then why is it bringing this guy? Okay, I think I just brought one command and I auto saved it. So you press Ctrl X, Ctrl C, and then Ctrl X, Ctrl X, Ctrl S, sorry, and then Ctrl X, Ctrl C. What I did, Ctrl S, Ctrl C would exit. I exited it, and then it asked me that did I want to save it. I pressed yes. So let me go back into the file. Okay, so you press let it load. You press Ctrl X, Ctrl S to save. Can you see no changes need to be saved? So let me just add some things to it. So it's going to say some changes. So I'll press yes. Okay, so Ctrl X, Ctrl S, and then it says I've written here, right? And then Ctrl X, Ctrl C, and then it saves. So if I cat file 2 now, you see that it displayed what I wrote into it, right? So that's basically what those things are for, right? So if I list my files now, I have these files. So let me create some directories as well. So make directory and call this directory 1, directory 2, directory 3, directory 4, and enter. Okay, so I have directories and files inside this folder, right? So this is, you know, you can have folders inside your folder in your normal command prompt. So I can open this folder, for example, and then create another folder and say new folder and give it another name and say new folder 1, like that. So folders are directories, right? So basically that's it. Let me use my Vagrant to bring it up. Vagrant association. Okay, while that one is loading, let me go back to this guy. Okay, so basically that's it. All right, so the ls command is used to list, right? And then we can list by doing ls. It's going to list in this format, and then we can also list in long formats to get more details about these files, right? By doing ls and flag it with l, right? And then it's going to list it in long format. It's still the same 4 directories and probably 5 files, because Imas created this one for us. I can remove it if I want. I'm just doing file 2, remove file 2, this one there. So let me clear my screen and relist it. All right, so this is where we are going to. All right, so basically we have these files, create the things inside this new folder, right? So we have the directories, 4 directories, we have five files. There's also one type of file that we can have. It's called symbolic link. So to create symbolic link, I think it's like this. Facebook and okay. So this is a symbolic link. As you can see, it is red. All right, so ls-l. All right, so see symbolic link as a shortcut. You know your shortcut. I have a shortcut. So this is a shortcut icon to OBS Studio, right? If I click on this shortcut, it's going to open OBS Studio, right? Shortcuts are just like, they call them pointers, right? It's pointing that to a particular app. So whenever I click on this guy, it's going to go to that app that is pointing to and open it. Okay, so that's what symbolic link. They are linked to a particular stuff. So as you can see, this guy is pointing to Facebook. So if I want to open Facebook, I can just use this guy. So this guy is like a shortcut to Facebook. Okay, so that's it. So one thing I want you to first look at now is that if you notice that all the directories, right, they start with a D, right? And then files, a dash, and then symbolic link, a L, right? So you can use this to differentiate. Okay, this is a directory, which is a folder, this is a file, and this is a symbolic link, which is like your shortcut. Okay, so that's it. So do you have any questions so far? I have so many people trying to join. All right, anyone with any questions so far? Please, you can feel free to talk. Feel free to talk. Anyone with any questions so far? I'm still waiting. No question. Samuel?
I don't have question now.
Okay. All right. Good. All right. Oh, thank you for the feedback. All right. So yes. So to permission and permissions, right? So we have if you are on your system, right? There's let me see. Let me open it this way. Where is it? Sorry. Okay. So we have what we call owner groups and others, right? So if you have a file, right, there's for example this file, right? So this file contains probably your school project, right? So you created this file, so you are the owner of this file, right? So you have access to the file, right? So you can open the file, you can read the content of the file, you can do some other things on the file, right? So you are the owner of that file. Okay, so you could also pass on the file to some people. Probably there's someone, there are some group of people editing the file for you. So I'm just trying to use a layman language to explain this. So there are some group of people editing the file to you, and you don't want them to see a particular thing, right? So you can say, okay, you can stop them from seeing that stuff on the file, and then just give them access to just write on the file. Okay, and then probably there's people that's going to be reading it. Okay, so let's say you are the owner of the file, right? You created the file, you did everything, and then you have an probably editor that is helping you, or someone that is giving you information that is writing into the file for you. And then you have other people that will be reading it. You don't want others that will be reading it to be able to edit whatever you write. Let's say you are writing an article and you have a website, right? You don't want other people to be editing what you wrote, because it's going to jeopardize what the essence of your article, because someone can just write something, change what you did, right, on the file, and then it's going to cause problem for you. Okay, so this is what we are going into right now. Okay, so basically basically we have what we call the owner, the groups, and the others, right? So this guy over here is showing the owner, is showing that the owner of this directory is called root. The group that has access to this directory is called root, but it's not showing the one for others, right? So probably other people is just ignored in this ls-l, right? So there's always 3 people that have access to it. So you can always change the group that has access to this guy, right? You can change the others that have access to this guy, but others is not displaying right now. Okay, so this directory, as you can see, is showing that it is created 6th of July. So this is kind of the date where it is created. Okay, this is the time when it is created, and then this 9999999 is the size of, that's 9 kilobytes, right, of the file or directory. Okay, and this one is the size. This particular guy is the size. Okay, so this one 6, as you can see, 666. These 2 files is the one we have content in it, right? So this 39 is the file 1. I think file 1 contains more text. File 2 contains more text. This one has no text. This one has no text. This one has no text. This one is a symbolic link, so it's pointing to particular stuff. So it has 8 bytes, right? So that's it. And then okay, so this is what we want to actually deal with, this guy over here, right? So I told you about the owner, the group, and others, right? So the owner always the owner of a particular file would be able to read the file, will be able to write, and there's something we also call execute. That's run a file. Like if you have an app, for example, okay, the owner can edit the app, the owner can view what is inside the app, and the owner can run the app to start working. Okay, so the owner can now choose to give permissions to other people and other users, other groups, and other users on how to the rights they have to that particular application. So if you look at this R stands for read, W stands for write, X stands for execute, right? So these are read, write, and execute. So this first 3 RWR is for the owner. It means that the owner of this directory can read what is inside this directory, can write inside this directory, and can execute, that can run this directory. Okay, so the next 3 is for the group. It means the group that has access to this directory, which is the root, can read it, but they cannot write into it. It means that they cannot edit what is inside this guy, and they cannot run this guy. Also others too, they can read, they can not write, and they can execute. Okay, so if you look at this guy, it says that the owner can read, can write, but the owner cannot execute. It means this file cannot be run. As you can see, it's not a runnable file. Okay, and then others, they can only read, they cannot write into it, and they cannot run it. This is others, and then this is group. They cannot read, they cannot write that. Also for the symbolic link, it shows that the owner can read, can write, can execute. Others, group can read, can write, can execute, and then others can read, can write, can execute. Okay, so this is symbolic link, this is file, this is directory. Okay, so any questions so far? Any questions so far?
Yeah, I have question this somewhere.
All right, so let me go back.
Yeah, the just like your illustration, we're going to have the the read, write, and
Yes.
X. The X, does it signify the
Yes,
execution?
that's what I was saying. X means execute. R read, W write, X execute.
Okay, but from the first directory,
Yes.
I could see two out there.
That's what I'm saying. That we have three people that has permissions that will have permission to a file, right? I said the owner, the
Yes,
group,
yes,
and others.
and the
So
others.
so the owner owns these first three.
Okay,
The group owns this next three. The group, yeah, group owns
the
this
groups. Yeah.
next three, and then others has this last three.
Okay, okay,
And then
okay.
this D is showing that it's a directory. So it means that the owner can read, write, and execute this particular directory. Group
Yeah,
can read, they cannot write, but they can
yeah.
execute it.
You can execute.
Yes, and then this one means they can read, they cannot write too, and they can
All
execute.
right, but you can execute. Okay,
Yeah, so that's it.
okay. Thank you.
So the next thing we're going to do now is now you as the creator of these files, you can now give permissions to a particular this file. Now, okay, I want to say, okay, I want to be able to execute this file. I want to give permission to the group so that they can write into this file. I want to give permission to others so that they can write into the file. So this is what permission is all about. So what it means is that if I want to give this file one, I want to make the other people, the group, to be able to write into it. I'm kind of giving them permission to write. So it means that this place will turn to W after I've done this thing. Okay, so it means this guy will turn to W if I'm giving the group of file one to be able to write into file one. Okay, so that is what we are just gonna do. All right, so I'll just explain these concepts now. No, this guy. Okay, so okay, I think it's not yet time to explain this guy. So let me just go into it. All right, so let me clear my screen. All right, ls, sorry, we'll be dealing with the long formats now. All right, so now look at this guy over here, file one. The owner of the file cannot execute it because it doesn't look like an executable file, right? So if I want the owner to be able to execute first, right, there's a command they called chmod, which is like I want to modify this file. So I'm changing the modification of the file. Okay, so that is change mode. You are changing the mode of this file. Okay, so you are changing the mode, right? So let me just accept this person. So thank you for trying to join. All right, so I'm changing the modification of the file. All right, so I do chmod and then the file name. Okay, I want to, for file one, right? So I want to change the modification of file one, right? So I'll do chmod file name, but in between, then I'll do what I want to do to the file, right? So chmod, I want to add to the what to the owner, right? So I'll just say owner is also called user, right? So I can say u plus, let me put, you can put, okay, let me put it together, plus x. So what I'm doing, x means execute, right? So I'm adding to the user, which is the owner of file one, this guy. I'm adding x to this guy. Okay, and if I do it, press enter and release it, you'll see that the color change, showing that it can now be executable file. They have different color because they can run. They are like applications that can run itself. Okay, so I've changed this file to kind of application, and as you can see, x has been added to this guy. And if you look at this place, the x was not there before. I can also remove it by doing this. I'll use minus, that I want to minus X from the user, okay, which is this guy of file 1. If I press enter and I release it, can you see the color has changed back and the X has disappeared, right? So if I want to add to the user, to the groups and other people, right? So I will say change the multiplication. I want to add to the user, to the group and other people, okay? I want to add what? Let's give all of them X for file 1, okay? So I'm adding X to the 3 of them, right? And I press enter, and if I release it, you see that file 1 has X here, X here, X here, okay? It means that all of them can execute. All right, so I can remove it by doing minus, right, and then press enter, and then ls-l, and then it's gone. As you can see, x is gone, right? So that is that. So let's say I want to give them permission to, I want to give, this one has permission to write already. I want to give the group and others permission to write as well. So I'll just say change the mode. I want to change a mode to the group and others. I want them to be able to write, okay? And then to which particular file? For file 1 and probably file 2. Press enter. Do ls-l, okay? And as you can see, this one has w. Okay, so I don't know if you have any questions for now. Any other questions? Any question? Okay, in the absence of none, we'll continue. Is someone raising? Yeah, you can talk. Just unmute yourself and talk.
Sorry, good evening.
Yeah,
can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, I've been trying to ask this question from the symbolic link, but network has been terrible.
Okay.
Sorry, the pointy, is it part of the command for a symbolic link, or it's just the ls/n?
No, it's part. No,
Pointy.
Pointing. I don't get, like, okay, yeah. It's part of the command I use. I did ls. No, this ln to create a symbolic link. You do ln/s -s, and then
Yes.
let's say I want to, like I explained, that symbolic link are like shortcuts, right? Were you there when I was saying that?
Yeah.
All right. So let's
Yes,
say I
yes.
want to create shortcut for OBS Studio, right? OBS _studio. Okay, and I want that shortcut to be called for OBS, right? I press enter. If I list it -l, can you see for OBS is pointing to OBS Studio?
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's ln/s.
Yes.
And the file,
The original
and the
file
pointer. Let
and
me
the
just put it that
pointer.
way.
Yes,
Yes.
exactly.
And the pointer.
Yes.
Yes.
Great.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
So back to this one. So you can use the ch mode to change modification. So I can say ch mode, and I can just say plus x. This guy is adding x to everybody because I didn't specify that. It's still the same thing. Plus x is the same thing as saying the user, the group, and others together. Please kindly mute yourself if you're not talking. All right. So it's still, if I do ugo plus x, that's user, is still the same thing as not specifying it here. All right. And then I can say for file 2, I want to add read, write, and execute to all of them for file 5. Press enter. If I released it, can you see file 5 as, where is it? File 5. Okay, read, write, execute. Okay, I think it only affected the first guy. I'm coming. ugo. Okay, I think this one worked better. So as you can see, file 5 has we've added read, write, execute to everybody. Read, write, execute, read, write, execute. So I think the ordinary one will only affect the user of the file. Okay, so let's clear it and ls dash, sorry, ls dash. All right. So basically that's it. There's another way of changing modification of a file. Okay, so which is using binary. Okay, so you have to know that one as well. So for that one, I'm going to open my notepad so that I'll be able to explain to you how it works. Okay, so all right, good. So I'm going to copy these guys. All right, and sorry, see. Okay, good. All right, good. So this is what we have so far, right? All right, so let me open it and make it bigger. Okay, I hope you can see my screen.
Yes, you can.
Thank you for
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
All right, so we have the using binary to change modification. So for example, this file 1, right? Okay, let's deal with file 3 now. All right, file 3, if I want to change the modification, I can say change mode, ch mode, file 3, the orders does not have w. I can just say ch mode orders, add w to it, and then I will say for file 3, and if I press enter, it's going to add w here, right? So that's what it's going to do. So if I want to use binary, the first thing you need to know is, okay, let's copy this guy over here, or let me use this directory. Let me use this one. Alright, so paste. Right? So look at this guy and look at this guy. Let me use this guy. Okay, good. Dash. Alright. So this dash, it shows that it is a file, right? So we have read, write, execute. This one does not have execute. So basically what you do is whenever you have an alphabet like read, write, execute, like this R, you represent it with 1. Okay, and whenever you see dash that it is empty, you represent it with 0. Okay, so the first one would now be 1 1.
Please can you repeat that again?
Okay, look at this R. Okay, because there's R here, I'm representing it with 1, and whenever I see dash, I will represent it with 0.
Okay,
so R1, W1, dash 0. That's for the owner, for the user, right? The owner, right?
okay.
So for the second one, it is what? Who can help me with this guy? That's for the group, for this file.
100.
Thank you, 100. And then this one also will be 100. Okay. For the next one, we have 111, 111, 111, right? Right?
Yes, yes, correct.
Great. So if we want to use binary to change modification now, so we'll use this kind of format, right? So the thing is, you have to understand binary a bit, okay, and the conversion of binary to decimal. Okay, so what is 110 in decimal, from binary to decimal? Okay, so normally we know that it's 0 in binary, so let me just do binary and decimal. There's a way to calculate it as well, so I don't know if I'll still do that for you. So 0 in binary is 0 in decimal. So 1 in binary is 1 in decimal, right? And then so we'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, So 2
Buffalo.
you said? Okay, so 2 in decimal, right, is represented with 10, right? Sorry, I'm trying to make it align. All right. So in decimal, 3 in decimal is, who can help me? 11. 4 in decimal is 100. Sorry. 5 in decimal is 101.
1010.
6 in decimal should be 10110, and 7 in decimal is 111. Yeah, should be like this. All right. So you need to kind of know this guy, and there's a way to calculate it. So I don't know if I should show you that one. So if you are converting binary to decimal, all right. So we want to convert 111 binary to decimal. So you just say 1 times 2. That's for this first one, plus the second one, 1 times 2 plus 1 times 2. All right. And then this is equal to, sorry, is equal to. So this 2 here over here would have raised to power. What should I use for raised to power? Yeah, raised to power. So this one will have raised to power 1. These 2 over here will have raised to power 2, right? And this guy here will have raised to power, is it 1, 2, 3, or 0? So raised to power 0, 1, 2, raised to power 0, raised to power 1, and raised to power 2. Yeah, raised to power 2. So this is how to convert. You bring out your 1, 1, 1. You multiply them by the base. A binary is in base 2. That's why we are multiplying each one with base 2. And then this last one will be raised to power 0. This one will be raised to power 1. This one will be raised to power 2. Okay, so 0, 1, 2. So if I do the maths, sorry, why is this? Okay, so is equal to, all right. So 2 raised to power 0, anything raised to power 0 is 1. 1 times 1 is what? 1. So put the 1 here, right? And then plus. For the second one, 2 raised to power 1 is what? 2. 2 times 1, 2.
2.
Right? And then for the third one, 2 raised to power 2 is what? 4. Right?
4.
4.
4 times 1.
4.
4.
Good. So, and then when we do the math, and then 4 plus 2 plus 1 is what? 7. So that's why
7.
111 is 7. Okay. So we could, let me just try for 100. All right. So for 100, we are going to do 1 times 2 plus 0 times 2 plus 0 times 2, right? Okay, so how to get it? This one will now be raised to power 0, raised to power 1, raised to power 2. So 2 raised to power 0, 0. These 2 will now be raised to power 1, and then 2 raised to power 2. Okay, good. So let me start from the front now. 2 raised to power 2 is what? 4. 4 times 1, 4, right? Plus 2 raised power 1 is 2. 2 times 0, 0. Plus 2 raised power 0 is 1. 0 times 1, 0. So the answer will be what? 4.
100.
So 100 is 4. So this is how we got it. So let me just do last one. So let me do for 1 itself. Okay. So 1 is equal to 1 times 2, and because it's the only one, it's going to be raised to power 0, right?
Yes.
Raised to power 0. Okay, and then the answer will be 2 raised to power 0. Anything raised to power 0 is 1. 1 times 1, 1. Okay, so that is why 1 is 1. And for 0 as well, we could still do it. Where is it? So 0, sorry, let me just admit. Okay, so good. So this one is 0 equals to 0 times 2 raised to power 0. So 2 raised to power 0 is 1. 1 times 0 is what? 0. Alright, so that is why 0 is 0.
Excuse me,
Yes.
I can't get you from 100. Are we multiplying this, for example, 100 multiplied by 2 by 2 plus maybe is 1 times 2 raised to 2? Where are we getting this 2 raised power raised 2?
Okay. Basically, binary is in base 2. It means your decimal, your normal decimal, right, is in base 10. Why? Because it contains 10 numbers, right? Your 1 to 3 is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay? It contains, this
Yes.
is 10 numbers. It is in base 10. Okay? So when we get to 9, we have to start from 10, which is 1. So pick this 1, 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 3. So it is in base 10. It contains 10 numbers and it will not have 10 itself. Okay, so for binary is in base 2. It contains 2 numbers. It will not have 2. So the next one will be 1 and 0. So binary is what the computer understands and it is in base 2. So if you are converting base 2 to base 10, okay, so if we have a binary 1 0 1, sorry, you can't have 2 in binaries, just 1 and 0, 1 0 1 1 1. Okay, we want to convert this guy to decimal, right, to your normal decimal that you use in school. Okay, you can use Google to check the correct answer, so we are going to calculate it here as well. All right, so we want to convert this guy to base 10. So it means this guy, I can't really write subscript here, okay, is in base 2. So this 2, I don't know if there's a way to write it in a tiny bit. All right, so it means there's a base, there's 2 here. Let me just try and see, put it in brackets. Okay, so this guy is in base 2. Okay, so our own 1 2 3, which is decimal 0 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9, is in base 10. Okay, so we want to convert this base 2 to base 10. So to convert it, we'll say 1, we'll pick from this last part to the front, okay, or everything. You multiply everything by this base 2. So 1 times 2, 1 times 2, this is the first one, and then you add plus, or let me just do it this way. So we have 1 0 1 1 1 1. So I just splitted it into, I splitted it and gave it space, right? 1 0 1 1. So everything, I'm going to multiply it by this 2, the base. Okay, so I'm going to multiply it by the 2. So I'll say this one is, sorry guys, can you guys still hear me? I had a call.
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, someone was calling me, so I know,
Yes, we can hear you.
I know it's going to be disturbed on my network. Okay, so I'll okay, so let me do it this way. So adding I'll add them together as well. Plus 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 plus. Okay. So I will multiply each and every one of them with this base, which is base 2. Multiply by 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 2. And then multiply by 2. Okay, so that's what I did. Each one 1 times 2, 0 times 2 plus 1 times 2 plus 1 times 2, 1 times 2. How many 1 do we have here? 1 0 1 1 1. Okay, it's more than. Okay, so 1 times 2, 0 times 2, 1 times 2, 1 times 2, 1 times 2. Okay, do you understand this, right? You understand to this point, right?
Yes.
Just kindly mute yourself. Alright, so the next thing we are going to do now is we are now going to index everything starting from 0. So this one will now be the times 2 of this one. Okay, we are multiplying everything times 2. This one is at index 0, this one is at index 1, index 2, index 3, and index 4. Okay, so all the times 2 will say that this 2 is at index 0, so I will say it is raised to power 0. Okay, and then this one is at index 1, it is raised to power 1. It's going to affect only the 2. So we are going to have this 1 multiplying 1 times 2 raised power 0, 1 times 2 raised power 1, 1 times 2 raised power 2, 1 times 0 times 2 raised power 3, 1 times 2 raised power 4, like that. So this one will be raised to power 2, raised to power 3, raised to power 4, 0 1 2 3 4, raised to power 5, 1 0 8, 0 raised to power 1 raised to power 2 raised to power 3 raised to power 4 raised to power 0 1 2 3 4. It's supposed to have 4 here. Okay. 1 times 2 raised to power 0, 1 times 2 raised to power 1, 1 times 2 raised to power 2, 0 times 2 raised to power 3. Okay, and then 0 times 1 times 2 raised to power 4. Okay, like this. Okay, so I don't know, do you understand to this point?
Yes, we do.
Yes.
Okay, so
Yes.
we then add sum it together. That's all. 2 raised to power 0 is what? Or let's start from here. 2 raised to power 4 is what? 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. So 2 times 2 4, 4 times 2 8, 8 times 2 16.
16.
16 times 1 16. So 16 and then plus the next one. 0 times anything will be 0. So no matter, even if this one is 50 times 0, it will still be 0. Right? And then we have this one, 2 raised to power 2, 2 times 2, 4, 4 times 1, 4, plus, where are we? I think we're here. So 2 raised to power 1, 2, 2 times 1, 2, and then 2 raised to power 0, anything raised to power 0 is 1, 1 times 1. So do you have your answer? And then with this, we should have 23. So converting base 23 to, if you want to convert 23 to base 2, there's another way method of converting base 2 to base 10. If you check this on your probably Google or anything, you should get 23. Okay, so converting base 2 to base 10 is this way. So that's what we did for this guy, and then 1 times 2, 1 times 2, 1 times 2, and then the 2 has raised to power 0, raised to power 1, raised to power 2, and then we multiply it together and got our answer. I think this live would end in next 6 minutes, so I'm going to send one more link so that we can continue. Yeah. So this is how we get it. So with this logic, we can use this guy over here. So all this stress that we've been doing is for this guy. Okay, so we come here. All right, so we know that it means that this guy over here, because we are so familiar with decimal, so it's easier for us to use decimal instead of binary. So if I want to represent this guy in binary, this is it, right? So now I want to represent it in decimal. So it means 110 is what? What is 110 in decimal? 6. Okay, so it means this one, it means that first one is 6. 600 is what? 4, right? 400 is what? 4. So it means the first one is 644. So you have to write it out in binary first and then convert it to decimal, right? And then this guy is what? 111 is what? 777. Look at it. 111 is 7. So it means this second guy is what? 777. Do you understand this?
Mr. Davo, please,
Yeah,
I
yeah, we
missed
call.
some parts here. My network,
Okay.
can I
Okay.
can I go ahead?
Yeah, you have a question. Okay.
This one, yeah, please, this 110100.
Yeah.
Please, how did you change it with this read, write, and execution?
Yeah. What I said is.
I missed that
Okay.
part.
You can mute
Before we get to
yourself.
the decimal.
Yeah, you can mute yourself and.
You understand my question?
Yeah, I understand. Go. You can mute yourself and then I'll. All right. Good. All right. So what I said is, this one over here is just representing whenever this guy is filled up, it is 1. Whenever it is empty, it is 0. So R is filled, right? This is R. R will be 1. W, there's something there, it will be 1. This third guy, there's nothing, it will be 0. This one, there's something, it will be 1. This one, 0, 0. This one, there's something, it will be 1. This one, 0, 0. And look at this guy, everything there's something. R1, W1, X1. R1, W1, X1. 1, 1, 1. Okay, so I don't know if you understand now.
Yes, I understand now.
Okay,
Understand.
thank you.
Thank you.
So now you then split it into 3 like this for you to simplify it. So the first one is 110. What is 110? 6. 100, it is 4. 100, it is 4. 7, 7. So we can use that to solve our task now. Okay, so let's say I want to give this guy over here file 3 111 111 111, which what is 111 777. So I can just say change mode. Wait, it has logged me out. Okay, so let me log in back. I'm using SSH to log in. So probably you're going to see so you copy your SSH like this, go to your command prompt. Okay, so my Vagrant is even working now, and then press enter. Okay, and then to ask you for a password. Sometimes it might ask you for a prompt first. You press yes, and then password. Copy this guy. This guy. And then paste it. When you paste it, it's not going to show. Just press enter. All right. So we are back to our web terminal. So I logged in the ALX on my prompt. All right. So you'll see it into a new folder. I think that's what we're working on, right? And then let me reduce the screen a bit. ls-l. Okay, this is it. So let me reduce this by a bit. All right. So we can use that to work. Oh, I think our meeting will end in 1 minute. So I'm going to send a new meeting link so you can join in case this one ends. Okay. So yeah, in case it ends, because it's going to end in 1 minute. All right. So what we can do is we can say, okay, I want to add this guy to be 111, 111, 111. It means it is 777. So I'll just say ch mode, change the mode of file 4 to 777. So I'll just say 777 file 4. If I do ls-l, look at file 4. File 4 is now 777. Everything has wx, rws, rws. Okay, so let me clear it, release it. Okay, so let's say I want to make file 4 one, this guy should be 111 and the rest should be 000, right? So 111 is what? 7, and then this one will be 000, right? Because they are empty. So I'll just say change mode 700 file 4 ls-l. Can you see file 4? Are you guys still there? Okay, you're still there. I thought the meeting has ended. Alright, if you can see, file 4 now has 3 here, and then these ones are empty. Okay. So do you have questions regarding that? I think our meeting will end in 1 minute or so. Anyone with any questions so far? Any question? Hello?
Hello.
Yeah, any question?
No
Are you
question.
using
No
Sandbox?
question.
Oh, okay. Alright. Yeah, you were asking something if I was using Sandbox or something.
Yes.
Yes, I'm using Sandbox, but I connected it to my command prompt.
Okay.
Yeah.
How do you do that?
Yeah, I just showed them right now. Probably I'm going. I have a video on that, so I'll send it to the group as well.
Okay.
All right. So, all right. What else? Okay, so that's it. And then, okay, since the meeting has not ended yet, I'm surprised. Let's see. So we can work with that. So let me change this guy. So I want to change this guy and make this guy should have read write, okay, and execute. And this guy should have read write and execute, but this guy should not have anything. Okay, I think it's fine. You can end it. All right, welcome guys. Welcome back. Let me just give them 1 minute and then we'll continue. continue. Okay. Okay. All right. So 30 seconds. We continue. 30 seconds just for new people to join. All right. 20 seconds. Okay. Let me share my screen and then we'll start. All right. Okay. Good. So we'll start now and let's continue. Okay. Good. So as I was saying, I want you to check on this guy over here. Okay, good. This is a very great stuff here. Yeah. So look at file 4. I want file 4 to be able to read and write. That's the user. I don't want the group to have anything, and I want this guy should have read and write. So read and write, empty. So what am I going to do? I'm not using the thing with using the WX is that I can, if I want to change mode for everybody at a go and I want to give them different things, it's kind of a bit hard to do that because I have to do it individually. But if I need to do everything at once, it's better to just use the binary mode, which is converting it to decimal and then using it. Let me admit people in. Okay, so basically, so now help me with the command. I want to change this guy to read write. This guy, the execute should disappear, and then these 3 guys empty, and then this one to read write. So which command am I going to use? Chmod what? So what is the decimal that I'm going to input? Read write empty read write. Read write empty read write. So who can help me? Can someone just try?
The question again.
Okay. So hey. All right. So this guy read write. I want to make it have only read write. This executes to go, and the group should not have anything, and then this guy should have read write.
So it will be u plus
We don't want
x.
we don't want to use u plus x because that will not work. Because if I do u plus x, okay, u plus x, I don't want to use u plus x. I want to use number. We've left u plus x or user plus
Okay.
X. So let's use number to represent it, which will be faster.
Okay.
Yeah. So who wants to try?
So it will be 666.
666. Okay. So you said 666. 666.
We are using the decimal, right?
Yes, you use decimal definitely. So 6654. Let's see if you are right. Yes, we have RW, but this one is still having RW. I said it should not have.
It shouldn't have the RW
In the middle for this guy.
This
one is correct. This one is correct, but this one is still wrong. So what am I going to do to fix this? Someone should help him. If you can help. You're almost right. You're almost done. Okay, let me just.
Okay,
What do you want to know the group?
let's try 664.
Okay, CH mode. 664. 4. 664 did RW have. Still not
Wow.
getting it.
Wow.
Okay, use 646.
646. Okay. Are we right? No, you're still wrong. It's
Please, I don't understand. I'm just joining. No.
okay. Probably you watch the recording. It's as simple as saying, okay, you know 6 would do RW already, and you don't want to give this
Yeah.
guy anything. You just replace that middle guy with 0. So it's
0. Okay.
606. And if I press enter ls-l, right,
Oh.
you see
Yeah.
number 4606 is there. It's
Right.
as simple as that. Yeah. So let's try something else. Let's give. Okay, we don't want to give for file 2 now. We don't want file 2 to have anything. This guy, it should be empty. But this guy should have read, write, execute, read, write, execute. And then the user now cannot access it. Okay. So who can help me with that?
The user cannot have access.
They don't have anything. User that cannot read, cannot write, cannot execute. But group and others can read, write, execute.
Okay, 077.
Good. That is good. So for file 2. So you can try that and then ls-l. As you can see, file 2 empty here. And then the 3, great. Okay, so let's try 2 more examples. And okay, so for file 5, we want to be able to read owner read, group read, user read only for file 5. Read only.
Okay, so read only.
For everybody.
Four four zero.
444.
Zero.
That's in owner 444. If that is just for read only.
All right.
For everybody to read.
For read now, honor users and 440.
Okay, let's try 440 and see. 440.
I guess it's 444.
Okay, for file 5. I do ls-l. Look at your file 5. You did RR and then this one is empty. So the right answer is 444. Because you are giving everything the same thing. So it has to be the same value. There's no need to write 0. ls-l file 5, look at it, then RR. Simple. Okay, so I'll just now go through the materials you were given by ALX and then go through the task for you. All right, so this is the material, and okay, as you can see, it says it is read, write, and execute permission for all and others, for other users, right? And then this one that is saying that for everything as read, write, and execute for other users. This RWR, read, write, and execute for group, and then this one for the owner, right? And then this dash indicates that it is a file, right? Can you see indicates regular file? D for D would indicate directory. Okay. All right. So change mode, as you can see, we have RWR 111, right? This one is 111, 111. This one is what? 110, 110, 110, and this one is 111, 000, 000. Okay. Yeah. So this one is just trying to now convert it. 111 is 7, 110 is 6, this is 5, the 444 that you use now, it means it's R, right? So you need to understand how to get it, how to solve it, so you don't need to be cramming anything. Okay, so that's why I try to explain that one for you. And then you can see CH vote 600. It means 6 is what? RW. It means the owner would have read and write, while others will have nothing. Okay, to this far. All right. So I think they then explained these guys. So this one said no restriction because everybody can read, write, and execute. This one says read, write, and execute. 5 is R-X, R-X, right? Like that. 700. This one has all the rights. This one does not have the rights. 66, like that. I think you should understand this right now. All right. So directory permissions. So allows the content of the directory to be listed. So they are just trying to explain what R means, what W means. It means that you can list the content, you can view the content, write, you can create, you can write, you can edit it, you can delete it, you can do stuff like that. And then execute, it means you can run it. So allows the directory to be entered. Okay. So okay, this one is seen for directory because for directory it's going to be a bit different. Okay, so let's go here. Look at this directory. The X for directory, X for this guy means that X for this guy means that you can run the file. The file can be run. For directory are not being run, they are being opened. So it means that when it has X, it means that the person can open the directory. That's what it's just saying over there, right? And then okay, this one talks about super user. Super user would be necessary. Look at this guy. Look at this guy, Linus Me. If you notice, this guy ends with a $sign, and then this one ends with hashtag, right? So if you look at this guy over here, the ALX own ends with hashtag, right? And then the Vagrant one, let me open my Vagrant. Maximize. All right, so let me clear. All right, can you see it ends with $sign, right? So there are two different things. This one is not this. The hash is acting as a super user. Super user, just see it as the superior, okay? And then let's say the hash is acting like in an office. You have the boss and then you have the staff. So this one is acting as a staff, okay? And then the hash is acting as the boss. So anything the boss does, the boss do it authoritatively. And then for this staff, sometimes it will need permission from the boss to do some certain things. Okay, so just note that one for now as that. Okay, so so majorly if the staff want to do something, okay, now let's say you want to do something and then you want to act as the boss, you do the SU command. So it's saying that take me to the super user. Okay, and then it's going to ask for a password. You press your password and then it will migrate to this guy. Okay, so that's just what super user is about. And then sometimes you might want to act on behalf of your boss. So in that instance, you use this sudo command. Okay, this sudo would help you do what your boss would do on a normal day. Okay, all right. So okay, and then we have the change owners, change group, and change owners and change group right here. Okay, that is what ends it. Okay, so let me explain that one here. And that's one. Okay, good. So this is the owner of the file, right? This is owner, which is the user, right? And then this is the group. Okay, so you can change who owns this file. You can change which group has rights to this file, right? So the change group and change owner, will help you change it. You change group. So you just change the group. So let me see groups. Okay, I only have one group here. Okay, so I can't, if I have multiple group, I would have assigned this guy to another group. You can create groups, we'll get there. And okay, let me see for okay, so let me just go through the commands and then let's go. Okay, so home. All right, so you are told to know what chmod is used for, right? So you know it already, which is used to modify a file or directory, right? Give permissions. Sudo, I said you are acting like a super user, right? As probably the staff, right? You are acting like you want to act as a super user for a particular command. And then this su is to change to the super user. On ALX has made you super user already, so you don't need to change. Okay, so if you are using Vagrant, sometimes you will need to change to super user or just act as super user. Okay, so ch own, that's you are changing the owner of a file, right, of a particular file. Ch group, you are changing the group of a file, right? So if you press groups, it's going to list all the groups that you have currently. Okay, and then id, let's try id, so we see what it does. So if I say id, okay, so it's going to give me the group id. It is root, the user id. Okay, as you can see, it says equals to 0. So that one doesn't really do much things. This id, change ownership, change group, you are just being taught how to use it, because basically in your program you will not be using it. Okay, so groups would make you see all the groups that are available or that you've created. Okay, and then who am I will print the user. Okay, the present user. I think if I do who am I should see probably root. Okay, it's saying that the owner presently is root. Okay, so I'm logged in as the root. Okay, so that's what that does. And then we can then add a user. Okay, we have add user, add group. Okay, so this three is what I was talking about just now. And then we are going to talk about this three and do it, and then we go to the task. Okay, so we have one group already, right? So we have root. So let me clear -l. So if I do groups, it will list the groups that I have groups, right? So add group. So add group. I want to add a group called, I think I won't be able to do that on this place. Sometimes it doesn't work because it will okay, let's try. Let's add let me see. Okay, so we want to add group, want to add, oh sorry, no, I need this person. Okay, you have a question, you can ask. If you have a question, you can ask. All right. Okay, in the absence of none, let's add a root called Udo. Okay, so he said adding groups and he said done, right? So if I say groups, oh, it's not even showing. I don't know why it's group ID Udo. All right, since it has added, let's try and give file 2 the group of roots. Let's give it to Udo and let's see if it's going to work. And what is the command? We check the command. You see it says add group. Okay, let me see. So we'll use this where is it, change group, right? Change grp. So we want to change the group here. So chgrp, and then I'll say for to Udo for file 1, enter. So if I release it, can you see we've changed this guy to Udo, right? So we've changed the group. You can also change the owner of the file, and that is the chown command. So we can change the owner. Let me change the owner to home of file one. Enter. He said I don't have a owner called home. Okay, so I can create an owner called home. Okay, by adding user. Okay, so we have add user and user add. Okay, so these two, they are the same thing but they act different ways. Okay, so we can add that user and then we can change the the user of a file, which is owner as well, right? So what I'm going to do is I will try the two and then you see the difference. So if I say add user Mike, okay, so did it add? Let's see. Adding Mike, it worked. I think it worked. It's asking for my password, so I don't know the password for ALX right now. So let me just say 1 2 3 4, enter. Type password 1 2 3 4, enter. Okay, so basically if I use add user, okay, it's going to ask for the details of the person, the name of the person, date of birth of this person, all those things. So Mike, the room number 21, the work address, probably this, the home, yes. Okay, so it has added it. But if I use add user, if I use user add, it will not ask me for any all those information. So user add, let's say Yusuf, right? It will just add it automatically. So add user would get many information from the user, probably is creating a new profile, and then user add will just create like a mini what would I call a mini user, that's owner, on that where you're working at. Okay, so we can then change the owner, which is the user of a particular file. Let me list the file first. Okay, so I want to change for file 1, I want to change the owner. So I'll say own to Mike. Let's try Mike, and I will say file 1. Okay, if I do ls-l, can you see file 1 is now Mike, right? So I can also chmod to Yusuf for file 2. No, change number to chmod, owner, the owner of the file of file 2 to Yusuf file 2. Enter ls-l, and then as you can see, the owner is now Yusuf, right? And then we only have Udo as the group, so we can change the group. Change group, I think it's like this, right? No, CHGRP. This CHGRP of to Udo for file 2. Alright, so ls-l, and as you can see, file 2. So root does not have access to this guy again. Root does not have access to it. It's now Mike and Yusuf that can operate on it. And since we've created profile for them, so it means once they log in, they can have access to this file. Okay. So do you have any questions? And then let's go through the task. Does anyone have any question? I know it's kind of complicated, looking complicated, but it's not, trust me. So what I would just advise you to do now is to go through the materials once more, and then since you have the visual kind of understanding, it's going to be very simple to digest. Okay, so do you have any questions before we go through the task? We have 30 minutes left. Any question?
We can move forward.
You said?
We can move forward.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So let's go through the task. So let's let's see. Should we open the quiz? So, which command should I use to change a file permission? Change modification, right? So this one says, what is this RWX? This one is 7, and then this one is 00. Then you have 700. So what is the permission value for a file without any restriction? 777, because it's going to be full, right? And then what command should I use for changing a file owner? Change owner, right? CHO. What is the permission value for a file read only for the group? It means only the group can read. So you know that the first and the last will be 0. And then read only, it means read, write, execute, right? Read is 100, right? 100 is what? 4. Okay, 040. What is the numerical value for this? So if you count it, 3, 1, 2, 3, right? 1, 2, 3. So it means the first one is 000, which is 0. Second one is 010. 010 is 10. 10 is what? 2. And then 001. 1 is what? 1. So 02. So what is the numerical value for RX? This one is 101. 101 is what? 5. You can go and cross check. And then this guy is 100. 100 is what? 44. Okay. And then we are done. Alright. Good. So the first task says create a script. Okay. So for script is quite simple. Okay. So we do commands like this, right? We do commands like this. We do ls-l. Okay. We do pwd. You get to redirection where you can cut a file, cut file 1, pass it to head, pass it to tail, press enter, and then it's going to give you some values. Okay, so all these commands, this one is like 3 commands at a go, right? So all these commands you do them manually, right? Let's say you now need to be doing, maybe you are working on a project and you want to be doing a particular command, probably this command, you still do cat. Okay, so let's say you have a command like this that it is lengthy and you want to be automatically doing those commands. Then what you do is you put that command in a file and you turn it to an executable file. Okay, in the sense that whenever you run that file, it will do that command for you. So that's basically what scripting is all about. Okay, so let's do this. Let me create a file called touch. Let's touch some files. So let's call this one script1, or let's use the name given to us by index. Okay, so this one is okay. Let's call this one Betty. A file called Betty. All right. So we are going to write a script. Okay. All right. So he said write a script that switch the current user to the user Betty. Okay. So switch the current user to the user Betty. All right. So what are we going to do? So if you check, which command do you think we're going to use? I think someone is trying to join. If you have a question, you can ask.
Yes, question, please.
All
question.
Right.
Please, at your terminal, when you were trying to explain about this, you said cat slash, is it slash, okay, a straight
No.
like
You'll get to that. I was just moving too forward. That's what they call.
because I didn't really understand the command, the head, the stuff like that. That's why.
It's called shell redirection. Okay, so
It's okay.
you still get to that. So I was just messing around. Okay. So you don't need to understand this right now. Probably next week you'll be doing it, so you'll get to do it. All right. So yes, so let's create a file called Betty, right? Touch Betty. Enter. All right. So we have Betty. So we can open Betty with VI, right? Enter. So scripting, I'll just do this and being bash, right? So this guy would help me automatically run whatever I put, right? This guy has to be down here. So sorry, being bash. Okay. So what I'm telling it is the bash is the one that help run a script, right? So this bash is inside a folder called bin, okay, and then this shebang is showing that it's a script that, okay, I want this guy to help me do whatever is down here. Okay, so if I say pwd, for example, and I save it, okay, so if I do ls, you can see that, okay, let me clear it. Okay, so look at Betty. Where is it? Betty. You can see that Betty now, the person that owns the file cannot execute this file. Okay, and I want to be doing pwd all the time, right? But I want to be able to do it automatically, right? So excuse me. So what happened is that the owner cannot execute it. So if I try to execute a file, you just do dot slash and then the name, right? You see, you say permission denied, that the person does not have permission to execute it. Okay, so for me to have permission to execute it, I will just change the mode. I can just say 7007, right? And then I'll say Betty. Enter. Alright, so if I do ls-l, see that Betty now has the permission, this guy has permission to execute it, and you see the color has changed. Okay, so I could also just say Betty 722 ls-l, still the same. So I still have permission to execute. These people can just write inside. Okay, so let me clear it. Alright, so now I can execute it. If I now do this, and Betty, sorry, it's going to help me do pwd itself. So anytime I need to do pwd, I'll just do Betty like this to help me print. So that's it. Okay, so it's just to help you do a particular command, okay, itself. So we are now using it. They now said you should do a file. You should create a file in which where is it? Okay, create a file in which whenever you execute that file, okay, it will switch the user. So let me see. Create a script that switches the current user to Betty. So it means that Betty already exists. A user called Betty already exists. Okay, so you switch user to Betty. Okay, so that's what it's saying. That create sorry. All right, so simple. So what we are going to do is we then come inside our stuff, and then to do that we just do, let me be my Betty. So you can navigate through all your old commands by using the arrow up key, okay, and then arrow down key. That's what I was doing, and then insert mode. So to switch user, SU and then Betty, sorry, right? That's all. So because I've made my guy executable, Betty is executable, I can run it. I can run Betty, right? And it's going to do SU Betty for me. So it said user Betty does not exist. That's why it cannot switch user to Betty. So for me to be able to do that, I will have to probably create Betty to be able to switch to Betty, but it doesn't concern ALX. what ALX wants is just create that file that can switch to Betty. You don't need to have Betty to be working, okay, to exist, okay. So you can assume that the user Betty will exist when we run your script. So they are the one running it. So you just assume that Betty is there, all right. So you don't need to worry about that, all right. So you should use only 8 characters for the command plus 1 character for the new line. Okay, so that's it. And then let's go. Let me explain that one. All right. So if I vi into it back, how many characters do we have? 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8, right? Just 8. And then it says 1 character for the new line. Automatically, when you use vi to edit, vi automatically puts a new line after your word, so you don't need to put anything. If you are using Emacs, for example, so let's create another file with Emacs. Let's call it Betty1, right? And then I'll do my shebang bin bash, okay, and then I'll do su Betty, okay, Control X, Control S, Control X, Control C. All right. So I will show you the difference. If I cut Betty, this is the one I use vi to do, right? If you can see, I have 2 lines, and then the next root is on the 3rd line, right? The new prompt. If I cut Betty1, can you see that the next root is not on the 3rd line? So I'm going to have issue. Okay, so how to rectify it is that you then go back to Emacs, right? So you have to put the new line manually for Emacs. And how do you do that? You just press enter, and then the new cursor is here, right? So if I escape, oh damn, I'm not supposed to press escape. Okay, good. So if I now cut Betty1 now, can you see that it has now? So I have to manually put that new line myself if I'm using Emac. But if I'm using vi, I don't need to. If I try that, it's going to become 4 lines, okay, or 3 lines rather. So I hope you understand that. So basically that's it. So let's go to the next one, and then this one, it says who am I? So write a script that prints the effective username of the current user. You know the command who am I, they've even given you an expo. Who am I will print it. Okay, so you just write a script. So you just vi, sorry, I thought I was using my shell. That's not what. So let's create a file called who am I. Okay, and then I'll write a script inside. Sorry. Brush, and then who am I? Okay, sorry, this guy I should not be here. Okay, good. So ls-l, you see that the who am I is not executable. All right, this Emacs that created this thing because of stuff. So who am I is not executable, right? So I'll just make it executable. I'll just change the mode 744 who am I, right? So ls-l. All right, so who am I is now executable. If I try to execute it, so it's going to do that command for me. It's going to press who am I on my terminal for me, right, automatically. So if I press enter, it prints who I am, right, which is root. So if I do it again, it's going to do it, right? So that's the essence of this guy over here, right? So clear, and then that's the solution to that one. It's as simple as that. Okay, so you have a question, Udo, you can talk. You're free to talk. Okay, does anyone have a question? If you have a question at any point, just call my attention to it before I go far. All right. So any question? Any question?
I have a question.
Okay.
My question is, you see, we are supposed to create a repository on GitHub,
Okay.
but in the previous lesson, we already have a repository there. So I don't know whether we are deleting the previous repository or
Okay.
how, because it's the same repository name.
Same repository name.
Yes, the one we used last week, but
Okay.
just that there's another repository which is located inside with a different
Okay,
name.
calm down. Calm down. All right. Okay. So what you are saying is you have ALX System Engineering DevOps on your GitHub already, right?
Yes,
Great. So look at this very well. It is called directory, right? So it's telling you
yes,
you've created ALX System DevOps, right, on GitHub. You've cloned it on your terminal, on your web terminal, right?
yes.
LS. Let me see here outside. Okay, where is it?
So the first directory has to do with shell basics.
Yes. Why don't I have it here? Okay, I haven't cloned it. All right. Okay. So basically, let me see. What happened is let me do what you did. Let me just explain for you. All right. So when you clone your your repository, okay, your repository is just like a folder, right? After cloning, right? Isn't it?
Yeah,
So
yes.
basically, when you clone it, you make directory. You have this ls, right? You are going to have this on your system, and then if you move into it, right? If you move into it, you can then have a directory. You create a directory from your web terminal. So you did shell basics. So basically, you might just have a directory like make directory. So after you've cloned your repository, okay, this big guy is connected to GitHub already. So anything you put inside, you can push it to GitHub. Okay, so you make a directory, you call it shell basics. Okay, so if I do ls, so inside this
Okay.
big folder, I have shell basics inside. Inside, I can move into shell basics and put whatever tags I have under shell basics inside. I'll come outside here now. It's saying that I have another task called shell permission. So I'll create it again, make directory inside. So I don't need to create another repository. I'll call this one shell permission ls. So I'll move into shell permission. Okay, move into shell permission. I can create my readme, type in something, escape, quit it. So inside my shell permission, I have the readme. Okay, it's showing that I'm inside my repository. Inside the repository I've created. So all you need to do is just come to your web terminal and create the folder inside this guy called shell permission.
Okay.
And then when you do your
So that means we shouldn't add to the shell basic, right?
no, you're not adding to shell basics. That's why you have it here. It is being specified that you are going to go here and then you're going to go into inside this place, you move into a directory called shell permission. So it means that you are creating this one. And then inside this one, you will
Understood.
have a file inside called Betty.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Okay.
yeah. So we have
Understood. Thank you.
yeah, all right. So we have 10 minutes more. So let's see. So this one, write a script that prints all the groups the current user is part of. So this one, the command is just groups. So you do your bin bash and then you put groups and then you execute it. Okay, you can just turn it to executable file and then you submit. All right, so you don't need to test it, but you can test it in order to see how it works as well. Write a script that changes the owner of the file hello to the user Betty. So there's a file called hello, right? So you want to change the owner of hello to a user called Betty, right? So let me just probably create Betty, a user called Betty. So user add Betty. So I've created a user called Betty, right? So oh, sorry, let me go to my what was that new folder? Okay, so I've gone to where we were working before. All right, so user add Betty. Okay, so we have Betty already existing. All right, good. So now this one says, oh, where is it? Write a script that changes the owner of the file hello. So the new owner, right? So let's create a file called new owner. So vi new owner, giving new owner, right? And then we do this dash, telling that we want it to automatically do it for us. So we want to create new owner, we want to move a file called hello, right? There's a file called hello, and then we want to give the owner to Betty. So what we do is we just say change the owner of a file to Betty, the file called hello. Simple. Then simple. Then we'll make that, if you do ls-l, you see that our file new owner is not executable. We change it, change modification, you can just say 766 for new owner, right? Enter, and we list it. New owner is not executable. So if I try to execute new owner, you see, you say that we don't have a file called hello, so you cannot change the owner. So let's create a file called hello, ls-l, and you can see hello, the owner of hello is root, right? So let us just run our file, right? New owner, and that will automatically change the owner of hello to Betty. So let's see, ls-l. Can you see? It is now Betty. So it's as simple as that. Sorry. Okay, so we have 8 minutes more. So let me see if we can still meet up. Alright. So this next one says write a script that creates an empty file called hello. So you're just going to, so now it's telling you to create an empty file called hello. So you're just going to do your bin bash, and then you write touch hello inside, right? And that's as simple as that. Okay, write a script that add execute permission to the owner of the file hello. Okay, so we've already created hello, we've added executable, but let me just do that. Okay, so ls-l. So we have hello. Okay, hello is not executable. So let's see if it's, let's create a script. Let me call it exec. Okay, so let's exec.
Yes.
Please kindly mute yourself.
Please mute yourself while you're not talking.
I've muted the person. Alright, great. So being bash, so we want to give the permission. Where is it? This file called hello, we want to give it, write a script that adds execution permission to the owner. So we have it before when we do ls-l, this guy has rw. So when we now run our file exec, type execute right, it will automatically affect the LO file, right? So the LO file now has X here, right, and does not have others. So that's what we want to do. So we can use the normal letter one, just add X to the user. All right, so we just come here and just say change the mode, the user, add X to it for file hello, and that will be all. And then when I ls-l, okay, so where is it? Exec. Where's our exec? Okay, we have to make exec executable in order to make it do what we want it to do to hello. So we just say change mode for exec. Exec is, let's say, 766. Let me hide this guy. Okay, 766, and for exec, right? So if I do ls-l, exec is now executable. If I run exec ls-l, then you see that file hello now has X added to this place, right? And then it's executable. So that's it. All right. So basically that's it. Say write a script. Do you have a question? Anyone have a question? Udo, do you have a question, or this hand has been there since? Do you have a question?
Actually, yes, your presentation is okay. But I noticed that the way you used your ls to list the file first before, what I was doing, I was using my sandbox
Okay.
to do most of those things you are
Yeah.
doing, you understand?
Yeah.
But then I used VI. I didn't do it the way you're doing it now, so it's somehow. I didn't know there's another way of doing that.
Okay, how were you doing it?
I used the sandbox, then I had to, like, when I'm answering the question from the task, you understand? So
Yeah.
I use VI, you understand?
Okay.
Then for me to make the file executable, I use the ch mode, then u plus x
Yes,
with the file name. That was how I did.
yeah, we did that, and I also explained how you can use a number, because if you look at the task, which is if you look at the quiz question, you see that most of what you are told is using numbers. Okay, please kindly mute yourself. I think your background is noisy a bit for now, so you can unmute when you want to talk. All right. So you will notice that it is numbers that you were asked to actually use. So that's why I need to explain how to use numbers as well. Okay. If you look at it, almost everything is using numbers, and then you would have a I think your first assessment, and then using numbers would be part of those questions you'll be asked. Okay, so that's why I just need to explain how to use numbers as well. So you can use that, you can use this. The advantage that number has is that you can add the execution blah 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 permission to the three at a go, unlike the other one where you need to type so long if you want to add to everybody. Okay, so that's just the advantage it has over it. All right, so back to the question. I think we so yes, okay, I think we've done this one. Why number 7? It ends at number what? Number 17. Damn, I don't think we'll finish this thing in 2 minutes. And after this, I think I have a class with code 16, so probably we'll meet tomorrow or next tomorrow. I'm not sure. So
God bless you.
All right.
yeah. Okay. So let me just see. So
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Really learned so much today.
you're welcome. So all you need to do now is just try and go back to the project and try and recheck on them, but try and redo them. because the thing is, if you don't keep up to these things, it will choke you up and you end up deferring. Okay, so just try and be up to date. That's it. Just be up to date. Just try and be up to date. If you are working, try at your work, read while working. If you are not, put all your best. Okay, just try. Yeah. So probably tomorrow or whenever we are having another class, we'll continue and then we'll talk more. We'll continue from here. I think tomorrow. Let me see what you're having next because this is a cohort 17 account. Udo has so many children with her. She's the mother of all nations. All right. So where is it? Today is July 9. So let me see, July 9. Okay, yeah. So the next one you're having is shell redirection. So I don't know, I think I was doing some commands from shell redirection and you get to do that. Shell redirection is another kind of getting advanced task. Okay, so probably I have a recording on shell redirection, but I'm not sure if the recording was clear. So with the other cohorts, so you can just check it out, or I'll check it out. So if it is not, then we're gonna have another section on that. So shell redirection is another fun stuff, and after shell redirection there's shell variables and init files. Where's it? Yes, this guy. For you, maybe. Shell init file. So these last two, shell redirection, shell variables and init and expansion. So if you can finish these two as well, that will be all for shell. Then you go to start programming with C language. Okay, so just try and know this guy very well. We'll try and deal with shell IO when it's out, and then shell redirection when it's out. And then next week, I think you start with C programming. Or is it this week? Should be this week. Programming. All right. So just try and keep up to it. It's time consuming. It needs time for you to grab those concepts because they are new to you. And for those who it isn't new. It's still going to be kind of advanced. So you need to just keep reading, and yeah, it will be good if you can. It will really help you. So I'll also be here to guide you guys, and yeah, that'll be all for now.
All right, thank you very much.
All right. So just try and practice the questions and see.
Excuse me, please. If I want to use, hello.
Yeah, I can hear you.